this and this is just a whole bunch of bull crap. And I figured I'd record it. I probably won't upload it for a few days, but who knows? I might do it today. Alright, let's begin. I'm gonna like pretty much deconstruct every single thing he says.
Person sleeps with 7.5 people in their lifetime, but what about those people who sleep with Xanax and tissues? Well, they have harem anime. Because of this, we have a never-ending supply of harem anime that comes out each season. Yet, there has always been one that has reigned supreme, regarded as the king of harem anime. High School DxD. But behind the king is the queen of harem. Fuck out of here, Nisekoi. Behind that is the queen of harem anime. Data Live.
Peak show, by the way.
Yeah, didn't that come out like 11 years ago? And isn't it too late to make a video about it now?
Nope.
No, you don't get it. Data Live is still massive. Massive! I mean, there's new seasons coming out that have thousands, millions of new viewers every day. So let's look back to see if it measured up to everything that a teenage boy imagined it could be. 30 years ago, a massive spatial quake occurred, killing 150 Ever since
gotta
then,
very
spatial
specifically
quakes
point out
randomly
something that's
occur
crazy.
with nobody knowing the cause. Shido is 16. He just learned what strippers are and he's gonna solve all these problems. What makes him so special? Well, when he tells women to calm down, they listen. Shido lives with his sister, who is twin tails and stockings that one can only love in a Japanese way. Which is crazy that probably made sense to you. You kiss your brother on the mouth? One day they promise to meet up at Not Denny's after school.
Yeah, and then that place is gonna get nuked.
Shido quickly checks his sister's tracking chip installed on her while she was sleeping to see that she's at Not Denny's. So to save his sister,
actually it's not Denny's,
before
it's
he could
Danny's.
another spatial quake happens, and in the crater stood a woman. She's beautiful. For the first time, I don't want to sleep with my sister.
Well, that's
Suddenly,
not
they're attacked by the
what he was saying, but
woman
sure.
Air Force in aerodynamic armor that has my full support, since women can do anything a man can do. I think women should be drafted to the military.
That's just stupid. Why would you say something
Shido
like
wakes
that?
up on a ship and discovers that his sister is the commander of a group that deals with spirits, which are beings that randomly appear causing spatial quakes. This is why they need Shido, because he has a special ability that if he dates the spirit, makes them fall in love with him and kisses them, then they won't destroy the world. What are you talking about?
That's kind of the plot, but that's not the entire plot.
Say that again?
Stop disrespecting Coterie with that voice.
The first 4 seasons of Data Live follow a rigid formula. First, the intro with an intuitive voiceover. After they discover a spirit appeared, they send in Shido to seduce the spirit.
Half the time he ends up being the one getting seduced.
Divorced men and Twitch chatters vote to decide what he does, much like a dating sim. Unlike a dating sim, there's a massive delay between the two, so here's what it would look like without any internal dialogue.
It's hard to concentrate with such a handsome man in front of me.
5 hours later. Yeah, it's only gonna be here for a while. And that's exactly what he says.
He logs in, asks her out on a date, makes a promise about whatever their insecurity or trauma is about. Some evil entity attacks, causing Shido to piccolo himself. This semi-suicide successfully gaslights the woman into loving Shido, who seals it with a kiss.
And
their powers,
some of them try killing him.
Homosexuality. Many fans
I get
regard
that.
Data Live as an anime with a deep, well-written harem plot.
It is.
This is an oxymoron, and much like a happy marriage, it can't exist. One of the things that Data Live did do right was after watching it all, you can tell that the overarching plot was planned out before it was written, leading to some great foreshadowing. During the rewatch, I felt like I was watching Attack on Titan, but without the good parts.
Screw that. Attack on Titan is
in the
mid.
background, the ghost saying "I'll see you soon" on episode 1, and even the prediction of Oshinoko. By the end of season 5, all questions that drove the story forward were answered in a pretty rewarding way. We found out what Shido is, what spirits are, what open relationships are. With the only
I think we all knew what open relationships were before Data Live was around.
Plot and harem is like the beat. It's out there for some people, some freaks.
Look,
Because of this, the story feels more like it was written by an intellectual Brian Griffin. I've seen Data Live 4 times, once at 14, once last year, once 2 months ago, and once last week. But why would I subjugate myself to the equivalent of a Mr. Beast challenge for nothing? Because it's forgettable! Even if the story has a solid overarching plot line, you forget most of the fluff in the middle because it's all entertainment with 2 minutes of plot building in between. Think about when you ask a film student what their favorite movie is, they'll probably say something like, "Oh, my favorite While if you ask the average man, he would probably say Legally Blonde, not because of its flawless writing, even though it has that, but because of its entertainment value. But that doesn't mean that Data Live is good either. It has some of the most
It's not bad. You guys say it's bad and
We
it's
must
not.
rendezvous in a place where the protagonist can hear us to do drugs instead of the bathroom right next to us. Season 3 is about to end early until this solid wooden fence breaks. Oh no, during the attack outside, they accidentally hit the power grid. But like, only the part that disconnects my Spotify from playing, so we actually have to sing. Then you remember,
Hey, that was a good
this
moment.
is a harem anime, and you forgive it because you don't care. But
I
not
do care,
caring
though.
is the main problem this series faces. A majority of people who watch this weren't watching for some deep, meaningful plot. We were watching
Yeah,
to get carpal
screw
tunnel
you.
early. Around season 4, there was a
I mean,
huge
yeah,
tonal
both.
switch that changed
I
from a
was watching
balance
for
of fan
both,
service and
but-
goofy humor to fully focused on plot development. But Data Live, remember who you are. Stick an incest joke in there. There's no way to dispute that the last 2 seasons are objectively better written, but I preferred when it was more of a gag anime, when they had exploding radishes, fairs spawning
Yeah,
out of the
I'm
ground,
so
nuking
confused
Japan
about
to
all
get to
that.
hot springs because it was entertaining. Later, when a group of executives tried to drop 3 satellites on Japan to kill one guy as the climax for
Yeah,
the
well,
story, I
Westcott
thought,
is
what
the
kind
goat.
of evil Elon Musk strategy is this? You expect me to be invested in this? Because of the stark difference in tone, people started saying this was a super dark anime. Yeah, okay.
It kind of is a
After the
dark
second
show,
time
though.
they time traveled, I realized if people start dying, they're just gonna time travel to fix everything because Shido is a dirty scum saver. But that doesn't mean that there weren't
What's that
deep
supposed to mean?
emotional moments.
Oh, look, ads. And by the way, he's going to absolutely disrespect Westcott later, and I just said that.
Shido is a dirty scum saver, but that doesn't mean that there weren't deep emotional moments. Oh God! No, anything but that. Not the bread. If plot is the feet, then the dialogue is the mouth. And the dialogue of Data Life has some of the most cliche lines that I've ever heard. There were times I felt genuine anguish when these characters opened their
Okay,
mouths.
bro, the dialogue isn't that bad, bro.
Please drop it. Why won't you listen to me? Shido and I worked so hard on this. Drop it, please. I'm begging you, drop it. You have to.
The rest of the dialogue consists of the women saying, wow, I really love main character because he's a really good person, and me, a very attractive female, would fall for any guy as long as they're a nice guy. Or what they did during the last season to
Right.
save money on writers was have them all screaming out each other's names every 2 seconds like a bad orgy. Most
That's
of the
not what
monologuing in this
happened, okay.
anime are nothing burger conversations to the point I instinctively began to zone out to my happy place whenever they started exposition dumping. This is problematic. You begin to realize they could be talking about anything else. Someone will randomly say a line like,
My opinion is she's at least a AAA rank.
what the hell does that mean?
You
Well,
should know what that
unless
means.
you read the light novel, which is why, instead of conversations about questioning blood relations, the time would be better spent on the characters. If the dialogue is the mouth, then the characters are the ass. Harem anime always runs into a reoccurring problem that the more women you add to the show, the less time each one has on the big screen.
And I
This will divide
completely
all
agree with
women
that.
into one of 2 categories: those who get screen time and those who get to watch.
I
might not be
agree with that,
explaining it
too.
right, so I'll let the anime do it itself.
With 8 spirits, there aren't enough pages to flesh things out. Not enough time to fall for the main character.
Before I say the next thing, I will mention that the characters are great, and I love almost every single one of them. It's what sets it apart from other harem anime, make it memorable, and made it as big as it is. But most of the characters are hollow shells with as much depth as kiddie pools. In the
That's
light
not
novel,
true.
all of them became spirits due to some traumatizing past events they've gone through. Natsumi grew up in an abusive household as an illegitimate
Yeah, and I still
child
feel
with a
bad for
mother
bro.
who only used her for child support, never feeding her, constantly calling her ugly, even being bullied at school for her dirty appearance, which is why she always tried to change it. And the only reason I knew this is because I skimmed the wiki. But let's
bet
get
you did.
specific.
You're too
and
lazy to
no
actually
character
read.
is less important than the protagonist in a harem series. 10% of Shido's personality is his white man walk, and the other 90% is his savior complex. Which reminds me of another handsome man who sacrificed himself to save us and came back to life. Now, the women in harem anime are the most pivotal characters, so I'm only going to talk about 2 of them. Toka is the golden retriever character who's actually the main girl, not that anyone who hasn't seen the show would know since she's completely overshadowed. Poor girl just
Yeah.
wanted a nice vanilla romance. Instead, she got cucked. fact, she got cucked out of her own story. But honestly, the only reason I brought up the characters was so that I could talk about Kurumi. I've
Bet
never
it was.
seen someone carry an anime as hard as
Yeah,
Kurumi
bro.
carried Data Life. She's so
Keep talking,
influential,
bro.
they put her on everything. Credit cards, bookmarks, mouse pads, watches, clothes, blankets, plates, and tissue holders. And if you have that, you're probably already too far gone. Kurumi almost only appears after episode 7 each season, but the moment she does, the show vastly improves in terms of quality.
Sure,
On
bro,
average,
whatever you
episodes
say.
with Kurumi in them increase in rating by 0.45.
Maybe,
Not just that,
but
but the
you
highest
say-
rated media in all of Data Live is an
You
OVA
act
about
like
her.
Kurumi
Before
is
she
the only
appears, I
reason
found
the
a
show
whole begging
is
for her
good.
to save the show like she's Robert Downey Jr. This is partly thanks to her amazing voice actresses for both perfectly doing a voice impression of Boo for Mario. Oh, and I guess this.
Yeah, that scene blew up for some reason. I don't
But
understand
regardless
it.
of my opinion, since it is a harem, never forget, best girl is whoever you want to be best girl. But that's how losers think! So here's
Yeah.
the definitive Data Live tier list. The
Have
villains,
fun.
on the other hand, were ass. I
No,
was told that
Westcott
he's
is
up
the
there
goat.
with Aizen's planning, but he was closer to Team Rocket. First off, his name is so funny to hear as an English speaker because of how they say it. Oh no! Look out! It's Aizuko Westcott! Second, he has the most villain-ass features. His laugh, his group is called Deus Ex Machina, and his plot armor is slightly higher than the average president's. He's
Bro, you
constantly
just a whole
and will
bunch
say
of
stuff
yeah.
like, "Of course, all part of my perfect plan. I'm actually playing 5D chess right now." For example,
Whatever that
Kirby,
is.
whose main ability is gun, decides after catching him off guard to punch him and leave. Yet, I can respect a story that makes a villain be a bad person because he enjoys watching people be sad, like an evil Mr. Rogers. Aizuko Escato also dropped an absolutely banger line.
Nah.
Still can't believe they made the villain of the show women on Twitter. If the characters are the ass, music is the thigh highs. And Data Life has some of the best intros, outros, and OSTs,
I personally
specifically when
agree.
they're played on the piano. But at the same time, you have the equivalent of my ears being waterboarded by
And that
Kool-Aid.
is not
Every
true.
time I hear this is one less time than I should have, unlike German Naruto.
Don't know what German Naruto has to do with anything, but yeah.
If music is the thigh highs, animation is the heart. Now, Data Life has a major problem. It has a harem of studios.
We
in
all
its
know
5
that.
seasons, it's gone through 4 different studios, resulting in every season having different animation styles. Season 5, for example, looked like a flash bomb was constantly being set off on my screen. Out
Yeah,
of all
whatever
of them,
helps sleep at
Season
night.
1 was the most visually appealing to me, with a more
It
rugged
was-
look.
it was
But as it
good
progressed, it
animation.
became more modern, vibrant, and clean. To me, they made it look too perfect. They completely girly popped Shido. That doesn't mean that the animation doesn't go hard at times, but only at times when it wants the audience to go hard. When it's not focused
Yeah,
on
well, that
changing your
works.
blood flow, the animation's not great. I'm
Ignore that.
90% certain that this is just 2 shades of purple lines. The fights are slideshows, and every
They're
shot
not
is zoomed in so
slideshows.
much I can hear their thoughts.
I get turned on by little elementary school.
Yeah, we're just
But
going
if
to ignore
animation is the
that.
heart, then the CGI is high cholesterol. Oh no, this fight's getting tough. I
Just
must
want
go
me to
CGI.
explain that, or just
I
watch
still don't
OVA
like
1. I
CGI.
don't
This is no
feel
exception. The constant
like
switch
I
between
should
animation
explain
and
that.
CGI was so jarring. I couldn't take any emotional
Okay,
scenes
so he's trying to
seriously
get
when they all
people to
look
not
and
like
feel
him, and he says
emotionless.
the most
I understand the
unhinged
need
stuff
to use
possible.
CGI models since their outfits are detailed and having a big final battle with a harem budget isn't really plausible. It comes
Yeah,
down to asking
whatever you
yourself,
say.
would you rather have a CGI fight or the 1 FPS slideshow fights of Season 3? My
It
biggest
wasn't
problem with
that
the CGI is
bad.
the purpose of it is to have
It's like
free
One Punch
moving
Man. You guys
2D
rag
camera
on their
angles, yet they
animations.
somehow managed to still have it so zoomed in I can hear their CGI thoughts.
I try to go by the elementary school whenever the little girls have PE because I love watching them so much.
They're pressing.
Again, that was part of OVA 1.
Want to know how to turn back time? For decades, family.
No ads.
Whenever the little girls have PE because I love watching them so much.
If CGI is high cholesterol, the community
Stop
is the
painting
backbone.
Shido
A
like that.
community is the one who buys the light novels. A community is the one who purchases the Shido Itsuka ugly sweater. And a community is the one that sends me death threats on Twitter for not mentioning the Diddy Force episode. So
Yeah,
how
I've
does
done
the
none of
Data
that.
Live community look? Wow, Lunar Equinox, I bet you feel like a real big man nitpicking comments for jokes. Oh yeah, plot twist, they all squirted on it because they're the only things he doesn't eat yet. Oi, oi, oi,
God.
oi, oi, oi. We get to have the MC with them girls in a hot spring. This is harem. She wants
Well,
the
that's
dick.
kind of
Legendary
sad.
comment. The bar is actually so low. This is not Japanese Twitter. What happened to shame? However, I
We
won't
have
even
none.
pretend that having a community like this isn't the ideal situation for any anime, because these guys are more committed than lesbian vegans. I saw some people
don't know what that
comparing
has
it
to
to
do
the
with
Grave
anything,
of
but
the
that's crazy.
Fireflies, and 90% of the devoted fan base gave it a 10 out of 10 even after listing its flaws. But these guys are the professionals. Some of them have rewatched it 11 times, which is approximately 17,600 minutes,
That's still kinda pathetic
293.3
to my
hours,
score,
73
but
playthroughs
sure.
of Doki Doki Literature Club. I'm certain when their lives flash before their eyes, half of it will be Data Live.
Yeah,
Yet,
probably.
I can forgive and forget everything
I'll
in this
probably be
anime,
joining them.
but
I'll
there's one
probably
thing
be
I
right
can't
along with
forget.
them.
The goddamn penis blanket. What's your purpose? Data Live was a product of its time, and I love Data Live for what it was, entertainment.
I love
can't
it for what
compare
it
this to
is,
things
in
like
general.
Berserk, because that's like comparing apples to the Tesla Cybertruck. Despite
Yeah,
the story
the-
coming
the-
to an almost conclusive
You're right,
ending,
but
many
the
people
Apple is
question if
Data
there'll be a
Live, and the
season
Tesla
6 with the 3
Cybertruck is
light novel
Berserk
volumes
fighting on
remain.
that one.
But we must first ask ourselves, why the hell would they do that? Add revenue from streaming? Well, I don't know about Japan, but in the West, it got less viewers than the random seasonal aristocrat isekai anime. Maybe to boost the sales of the
Oh,
source
look.
material? Well,
I don't
the
know
sixth
why
season really
I
wouldn't do
gave
that much
friends
compared to the first few
requests
seasons.
including-
Not only because the Data Life light novel ended in 2020, but let's suppose you watch season 1 and think, I might read the source material for this. And if by the time season 5 rolls around and you still haven't read it, you're probably not going to, because you probably don't fuck with books. But
I do.
honestly,
I have
not
books
making
read
it
every day.
season 6 is the smartest thing they could do for the light novel sales, since it's the only way to reach the conclusion
Yeah,
of the
well, we
story.
all want a
Finally,
season
merchandise
6, so
sales,
they'll
which
probably
Data Life
make one.
fans spend a moderate amount of money
Yeah,
on.
I have
However,
not
it's
spent
kind of
any
like a
money on
pimp.
this.
Most, if not all, the sales
We'll
don't
be
go to the
shortening them.
studio that produces the anime. So, with the anime original ending, logistically speaking, they probably shouldn't make another one. It would make more
Nah,
sense to just
we
make
want-
another
we want
origami
one.
chibi manga
Yeah.
spin-off or a dating sim with Kurami's feet. In conclusion,
No.
when you combine all the oh shit, it made a femboy.
Yeah, forget about femboy. Even after watching this video, just because of all this smack bro was talking, like it's stupid.
お待たせしましたシドダーリンとデートですか何言ってるのよ次の土曜日私がデートしてあげるよそうじゃな
デート私と
続きはいずれいずれ
10 out of 10. Maybe I am part of the Data Life community.
Yeah,
after
talking all that
all.
smack just to say that you're part of it.
That's the wrong Miku, man.
Yeah, it
You
is
mean
the
it's
wrong
Miku. Whatever. Click here to check out my most recent video. Click here to check out the recommended video. And click here
Oh,
to
it's
check out
not
my
gonna show any
second
of
channel I'll
that
never
stuff.
upload on.
Nice.
And I finally moved in. And for the record, I didn't wear the skirt. I didn't wear the thigh highs. I'm still a man. I don't understand.
I don't
What
know
is
what
this?
was doing with
Rating all the best series that
Yeah.
I've watched recently. So
That
first
is
is
this. Why am I
which is
getting
a
watching
manhwa.
this? Webtoon
It
is
takes
mid.
place in the world
Yeah. Goodbye.